Welcome to Bogey Lanes in East Brookfield, Massachusetts. We are at the Western New England Pro Tour here at Bogey Lanes, and this final match is going to feature Jim Ayotte and Peter Pereira. As you see Jim Ayotte completing his warm-up boxes, he's been sitting around waiting for his final round opponent to be determined, and Peter Pereira is coming off a win in the semifinal round over Jeff Walsh. So this Western New England Pro Tour event featured 20 of the top bowlers in New England, and now they're down to just Peter and Jim. Jim Ayotte getting it started on the right lane, lane 8. And both guys on the right side, to the right of the head pin. Jim will be open in the first box. Peter will be looking at 2, 4, 7, and 10 with a piece of wood. See if he can cover all 4 of these. And both guys will be open in the first box. Jim Ayotte will begin with a 9. And Peter covers it for a 10. That's kind of what he was probably trying to do on the second ball. Jim Ayotte, as you undoubtedly know, is one of the more successful bowlers on the Pro Series in recent years, and he has a strike in the second box. Really heavy hit on the head pin, but he got a splash and all kinds of sidewall action. Peter Pereira almost with a strike, almost with a slow strike, but he's got a 9 drop and just the 4 pin with a couple of planks in front of it, and I'm sure this is not going to give him any trouble. Peter also has enjoyed a lot of success over the years, as you probably know. Here's another look at the strike by Jim Ayotte, almost right on the nose on the head pin, but he gets a splash. And off the wall, this pin comes rolling into the 10, just hard enough to knock it over, as you can see. So that's a strike in the second box for Jim Ayotte. Let's see what he can put on it. Jim goes by the head pin, just taking out 4, but of course he has another ball to fill the strike. And Peter Pereira with strike on spare. That one was really fast. It didn't take any time at all. Really solid 1-2 pocket hit. Jim Ayotte puts an 8 on that strike in the second, and he will try and clean up the 4-7 for a 10 box, and he's got it. We will show you a slow motion replay of the strike by Peter Pereira. Very high flush 1-2 pocket hit. Strike in the third. Jim Ayotte with a spread eagle in the fourth. And now Peter gets a splash, and that is a strike. That's a double right there. Both guys enjoying the benefits of the solid head pin that generates a splash. Jim Ayotte with a good try on that spread eagle. He got some stuff to come off the wall and almost had a chance to make a spare out of it. He'll take a 10. So as we go into the fifth, Peter Pereira will be trying to throw a triple strike, which will not be worth $1,000, but it will be worth a pretty substantial lead if he can do it. And doesn't do it. He does hit the head pin a little light in the 1-3 pocket, drops 6. He's got the 2, 5, 7, and 10 to try and put another mark on there, which would be his 4th mark in a row. Doesn't go, so that'll be a 7 fill on the second strike. Jim Ayotte filling out the 5th box. And as soon as Peter finishes his 5th, we will take a look at the scoreboard and see how they stand halfway through this match. And there it is. It's a 27-pin lead for Peter Pereira, mostly on the strength of that double strike in the 3rd and 4th. So they will switch lanes, and Peter will go over to lane 8, and Jim will finish up on lane 7. Both of these guys are regulars on the Pro Series and the World Invitational Team Tournament and any other sort of action, the Friday Night Pro League and whatever else is going on in the scratch league and tournament circuit in New England. Jim Ayotte looking at 2, 4, 6, 7. Trying to kick that 2 over into the 6. Doesn't quite catch it, so he will have still the 2 and 6 to look at. Peter Pereira with an 8 in the 6th box. In the previous round, as I mentioned, Jeff Walsh was in the semis against Peter Pereira. Before that, Jeff defeated Rich Bober, and Rich had defeated Dave Godwin. And there was a strike by Jim Ayotte. Rich Bober had been the 5th seed, tied for 5th with yours truly. So we had a tie-break match before the actual match play began. And the less said about that, the better. But in any case, Rich Bober was the 5th seed. Peter Pereira with 6. He's looking at 4, 5, 7, and 10. Jim Ayotte with a nice ball there, trying to throw a double strike. Gets everything but the 5 pin. And Peter with a nice bid. Really tried, he made good use of those pieces of wood, trying to cover all 4 of the pins. And almost got the 10 pin, but not quite. And Jim Ayotte with a nice shot there. He went high on that. Had a little decision to make on which way he was going to play that shot. And he decided to go high, and that proved to be the correct decision as he was able to get the 5 pin out of there. And that is a 7 drop for Peter, looking at 2, 4, and 5. Jim Ayotte with a 5 on the spare. Big 5 lead. Peter catches the object pin, but just not enough of it, so he will have an open box. That'll be a 10. Jim Ayotte also with a 10. So coming down to the last box, it is a 16-pin lead for Peter Pereira, meaning that Jim Ayotte needs a double strike. And there is one of them. He's going to need here's a look at the strike. Pretty sturdy 1-2 pocket hit, but he needs some sidewall action to get this pin to come over and take out the 5 and 9. Meanwhile, Peter Pereira is looking at the 4 horsemen right side, and if he makes this, that would, wow, great bid. He hit it almost perfectly, but for some reason the 10 pin didn't go. That would have probably shut out Jim Ayotte even with another strike. But as it is, Jim is still alive. If he can throw the second strike, that's a 9 box and a 135 game for Peter Pereira. So Jim Ayotte needs another strike. And it doesn't quite go. Light hit, and it doesn't quite is not able to get the 8 pin out of there to have one final shot at winning the match. And so Peter Pereira is the winner, 135 to 130, and he's the winner of this Western New England Pro Tour event at Bogey Lanes over Jim Ayotte in the final, 135 to 130, as you can see on the scoreboard, as Jim Ayotte tried to make a run at him with 3 marks in the last 4 boxes, but he wasn't quite able to get that second strike to go in the 10th box. So Peter Pereira picks up the win here in the third event of the year on the Western New England Pro Tour. As you can see, the next event will be in a couple of weeks at Agawam Bowl, and anybody that wants to enter this tournament can show up and do so. All you need is $75 and you're in. We'll see you then.